I'd like to just start with a little prayer of gratitude to start off this event. Thank you to the Creator of all the universes, the source of everything that is, for your presence, for our presence, for the opportunity that we have to interface with the rest, with our entire group and the rest of creation in order to do this work on behalf of everyone. Thank you for being with me. Thank you to the ancestors. Thank you to each of them for their love and support of our evolutionary process, for their willingness to participate in today's session. And thank you, of course, to the essence of divinity in everyone watching as we move together collectively to produce effects which are absolutely maximally supportive for everyone everywhere. Thank you. May this live stream be of great service to everyone. May you all benefit tremendously from it and become empowered to do this work yourselves. And may it be a blessing always. All right. So, looking into the group just to see where we're at today. And the first thing that's happening is the energy of creation, the consciousness is already starting to move. One of the things I love about these live streams is that there seems to be a higher energy flow, even than in the live webinars. So I appreciate that there's a kind of a constant in the background humming energy flow that's moving through. So what that's doing is it's causing our awareness to move down to that level where that hum is, so we can actually get a good look at what's going on there and support that process with our consciousness, with our awareness and perception. So what I'm seeing happening is that awareness is moving down into an area that I call the spirit causal level of the physiology. So to explain for those of you who may be new, this causal spirit level of the physiology is based on the understanding that the source of creation is unmanifest, unbounded, infinite, silent, and it is the pure potential which sits behind everything that's manifest. The manifest level of creation is like I should say, the unmanifest source of creation is expanding out in every direction simultaneously. The manifest level of creation is closing in. It has a kind of a contracting quality to it, just as our physical, dense level, material level of creation has a kind of weight to it. So the infinity is expanding out, the density is pressing in, and in the junction where these two values come together, we see the fine mechanics of how the manifesting process occurs. So what we're doing in these healing sessions is we're going in and looking at that area under a microscope, and I'm tending to arbitrarily divide it to 8 levels. And the reason I do that is because it's easy and it makes sense to me. There are different laws of nature that dominate at different levels of manifestation, from the very dense physical level of creation right down to the very, very finest, least manifest level, right like the skin against that source of creation field. And when I talk about the spirit and causal level of the physiology, what I mean is that our body is more than just our physical form. It's all those deeper, finer layers, and down at the spirit and causal level, which I'm seeing them here in an area of the physiology which is very abstract. So they don't really have a shape and form like the physical level, or even like some of the denser levels of the physiology. So causal and spirit levels. So the first thing that I'm seeing happening here in this area is it's activating with happiness. And the happiness is coming in from both directions. It's coming from the source of creation into the physical body, which is the antenna of divine cognition. And it's coming up from the celestial, the deepest, most abstract level of the physiology, as a resonation or a hum of that area of the physiology that's like, it's more like a field than it is like a physical defined form. And this area down here, this deepest level of the physiology, it is understood from the level of experience, like the sensations that we experience in our dreams. If anybody ever recalls dreams or even recalls remote memories of dreams, there are rich components to dreams which are based on sensations, sensory experiences, but synesthetic sensory experiences. So when I say synesthetic, I mean like it's a combination of flavors and textures and smells and sounds and visual impressions. And they all kind of come together at this deep level of the physiology and give rise to a picture of our reality, which is highly flavorful. It is that quality of life experience which is the stuff of which legends and myths are made. It is the stuff which fuels cultural development, the arts, music. Music is a great example because music encodes feelings. And in a piece of music, even in a few bars of a piece of music, a lot of feeling can be defined, can be expressed. So this is the level, this spirit and causal level of the physiology is where the awareness wants to sit at the moment in order to support the changes that it is the collective intention of everyone in the group today to make on behalf of our dear, precious family of humanity and our beautiful earth. So I thought it might be good to take a minute and make this a little more concrete, because that was very abstract. Make this a little more concrete by defining some of the goals of today's healing session. We have been told by modern cosmologists or meteorologists, that this is 2016 is expected to be the hottest year on record. And we know we've got fires burning out of control in Canada and a heat wave up there that's making everyone feel like it's the heat of the dead of summer, the deepest part of summer. And the oceans are trying to keep things cool. And the beings who live in the oceans, all the fish and the dolphins and the whales and all the intelligences in the ocean, all the intelligences in Earth, in the islands of the Earth, are working to keep the oceans cool. But the heat is coming from an imbalance that's at that spirit causal level of the physiology. And as I mentioned down there, a lot of things that we think of as like the epic tales of creation tales from different cultures and all the various epics of human history. If we look back, each period of human history has a feeling associated with it. When you think of ancient Greece, there's a particular feeling or sort of deep sensory experience that we associate with ancient Greece, which is different from modern America or China or Russia or Europe. Just like each holiday has its own flavor. So looking into the spirit causal level of our earth right now, and looking into the spirit and causal level of our Mother Earth, because just as our physiologies range from dense and clearly defined physical down to very abstract, so the body of Earth does too. So Mother Earth has her physical body, easily definable, and then various subtle levels. We're looking, reaching down into the deeper levels. What I'm seeing for Mother Earth is it's in the mantle of the Earth. There's a lot of heat in the mantle, obviously. I'm seeing the junction as the heat, as you come closer to the surface, everything cools off. And as we're coming close to the surface, I'm seeing this cooling. There's structures. I'm seeing areas of the Earth's crust which have been exacerbated by various kinds of work on the part of humanity to, extract oils and things like that. It's a lot of fracking, especially, it really disturbs the Earth's crust. So this is creating, I'm seeing emotional imbalances at the spirit and causal level of Mother Earth. So we're just going to look into those emotional balances right now. And what I'm feeling is, as a collective, our physiologies, at a deep level of our physiologies, at that spirit, causal, and also the celestial level, bringing forth, ushering forth forgiveness and love and gratitude. The gratitude is especially nice for that part of Mother Earth. She likes that. But also forgiveness for humanity, for not necessarily approaching her body as a sacred temple. We have to, a lot of times the discord, the emotional discord, actually comes from humanity. And if we've got certain factions of organized groups which are working to extract natural resources, and we have other groups thinking, oh no, we need to approach Mother's body like a sacred temple. Ideal for, here we are on the verge of Mother's Day, at least here in America, tomorrow, Mother's Day. So perfect that we're doing mother healings for Mother Earth. That's it. So what's happening is the celestial bodies of everyone watching are activating in the resonation of devotion. And that resonation of devotion at that level of the physiology moves out into every corner of creation. The celestial body is the deepest, by my system of understanding, is the deepest, most expanded level of the physiology. It's like a field. It's like the ocean. It's like the air around the earth. And any movement that we make from the level of the celestial body touches everything that the field touches. And the field starts at the beginning of the creation of the universe, the Big Bang, and it finishes at the collapse at the other end of creation, and it stretches out into every corner of the universe. So as the devotion activates, it doesn't just activate for you and me right now. It's activating through time. It's touching all aspects of our life, both in the future and also in the past. And we know that the nature of life and the nature of the universe is that it's progressive and evolving. So where we are right now is a more progressive state. It is a more evolved state than anywhere we've been in the past. Therefore, by allowing this resonation of the celestial field to hum into the past and into the future like that, we're actually changing or modifying the way we have acted in the past. We're changing and modifying our approach, particularly to difficult or challenging situations, to see them in the light of their highest evolutionary value, and to use each of those moments where any of us have been touching the earth, close to the earth, out on a walk in nature, each of those moments as like a pivotal point. Think of all the experiences you've ever had in the course of your entire lifetime, or the lifetime of your soul, which of course obviously ranges back to even before Mother Earth was created. Like nodes, the different points, what we're doing is we're capturing the points where we were touching the earth, where we were close to the earth, and this wave of devotion moves through the physiology and it folds back into the earth. And it's creating a kind of a systemic healing effect over the whole earth. Because wherever you live now, you have been in other places, you have lived in other places, you have been close to the earth many times. And there are early existences where we just lived constantly in contact with Mother Earth. We have individuals who are watching who've been sitting in caves in their lives and engaged in acts of devotion anyway. And so what this is doing is it's creating a secondary and tertiary resonations on top of each of those moments to produce like a chord. It's like a chord. If the moment is like the initial hum, the fundamental of the chord, ba, what we're doing is ba, ba, we're adding in. The celestial body is resonating, it's humming in a way which enhances through the resonation of devotion. I'm just taking a moment and enjoying the concert because as we all work in concert, oh, you guys are awesome. Everybody's physiology resonates at a slightly different hum or frequency. We're all cut basically of the same cloth, but each person's approach or angle to appreciating the creation is slightly different, which gives us the opportunity to see the vision from a multidimensional point of view. So looking at this from the multidimensional point of view of each person's individual perspective, and then also to whatever degree, thank you, because the ancestors are with us, adding in the ancestors. It's awakening a great, huge cosmic hum at the celestial level. And I'm asking how that interfaces as that cosmic hum starts to move up into the denser levels of creation. We start to see how it looks in the causal level of the physiology, in the spirit level. We've already been obviously working with the spirit level because we're working with the whole life story, life history, history of the soul. So we have this beautiful, divine, angelic hum, resonation, humming. And if you've ever imagined the sounds of angels singing or something like that, it's like that. In fact, each of us has the capacity to shift that hum ever so slightly, which is what's happening right now. This is obviously all being prepared, I'm presuming, to do a big healing for Mother Earth. I'm basically reporting what you guys are doing, just saying. Anyway, so adding into that hum of devotion, I'm seeing people's celestial bodies shifting ever so slightly to add in the element of angelic nature. Angelic nature. That means the point of recognition in the life story from the Big Bang to the collapse at the other end, where the devotion has so overtaken the physiology and the being that nothing is left but unification with the source of creation. Nothing is left in terms of individualized identification or small desires based on incomplete development of the heart or something like that. So no greed, selfishness, fear, all that, but this aspect of the self where one has completely transcended those qualities, those smaller individualized qualities, and has utterly aligned one's awareness with cosmic evolution. So that resonation is factoring in to the celestial body resonation of devotion. And it's flavoring the current life experience of devotion and also the past. So in all those points, remember we have this matrix that's connecting all the points where you were ever connected to the earth, touching the earth, out in nature, swimming, enjoying how beautiful Mother Earth is. We're adding this element in. So now our chord has another note in it, right? Because we've got devotion. Now if we think of the life energy of the being is the fundamental ba, and then we add in devotion ba, and then we add in angelic structure ba, like that. So we're starting to build up the chord, and it's continuing to very gently, gracefully move through time. I want to check back in with Mother Earth and see how she's feeling with all this, because we're starting out with this process as a gift to her. I'm seeing the intelligent structure of the earth. I'm seeing her angelic forms, her devotion, her adoration of humanity, her adoration of all the living, beautiful living antennas of divine consciousness, which surround, which sit on the surface, and then finer ones with less dense physiology sit in the crust of the earth, and then even finer physiologies, very, very long-lived physiologies sitting in the mantle. So it's like a whole system of life force and life experience in the whole earth. And it's offering, all the whole is always bigger than the sum of the parts, right? So that intelligence of Mother Earth. And what we're doing at this point, and I'm just seeing people's hearts opening wide, wide open. And love is flowing, love and gratitude is flowing. And this is the real healing balm. This is the real medicine that we're making. The resonations of the celestial body are there to kind of set up the system to take the right angle. But now the flow of love. And that flow is able to just issue forth through our physiologies as kind of like the core of the healing process, but then through us into all the past experiences close to Earth, through our ancestors. And it's harmonizing with the work that's constantly being done by the finer intelligences of Mother Earth. As I mentioned before, we have human beings and all the earthly beings on the surface of the earth, and we have these nice, dense little physiologies that are rather short-lived. And then in Earth's crust, we have the Davic structures of Mother Earth that are they're responsible for things like the water cycles and the movement of tectonic plates, and a lot of the elements of the energies that move up through the living plants, and so that are drawn up through the roots of trees and so forth. And then, deeper than that, in the mantle are the ancient archivists of Earth's history, responsible for Earth's relationship with her cosmic neighbors, for the movement of the Earth on its axis, for movement around the sun, for the communication between Earth and the sun. The sun is, as we know, moving toward the North Star. However, we move through different qualities of space as we move. So the sun is moving this way, right? And the Earth is moving around the sun like this. So as the Earth cycles the sun, it's not that we come back to the exact point in the process. We're always moving to a new point in space. And each of these areas or segments of space have their own unique energy frequencies. So we're also looking at that. And this is seeing that this particular aspect of space that we're in right now, I'm getting a read of what it looks like down at that causal spirit level of the physiology. We can think of that level as a kind of a fifth dimensional level of being. And they're even, as you go down, they become finer, 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 more, and there can be a lot of dimensions. But that fifth dimensional level, and as I'm feeling that quality of space, one of the things it has, one of the features, I'm just taking a read on the energy structure of this segment of space that we're in, is that it's a little more protective. There's a safety in it. There's a safeness or a comfortableness in it, which I wasn't experiencing, say, 4 months ago in the space. So that's really interesting. There's also a kind of a solidity in it. We're in a little bit thicker. There's something thicker about the energy in this part of space than where we were, in the last year. I'm enjoying reading this. The sun, there's another thing, there's a resonation in the energy frequency. And all I'm doing, guys, is I'm reading what it looks like down here. I'm just saying, for those of you who are interested in evolving your own ability to do energy work, I'm adding in some of my perceptions here. As I'm just reading what the energy structure looks like, and then I'm translating that into English words, into meanings. There is a resonation in that quality of space, what I was about to say, which is not dissimilar from the energy of the sun. There's a kind of a light, buoyant, warm, rich quality to the space that we're in right now, which is different from where we've been. There's a little teeny warning flag that just went up. And it said that when the space is a little more comfortable like this, it allows for like more autonomy to go outside the box a little bit more. So that's also in the mix here, is an element of being able, and I hesitate to use the word reckless, because I don't think that ultimately recklessness isn't really where we want to go with this thing. But because remember, we're engaging in this healing, we're engaging in the changes that are taking place. As we witness them, we change them with our awareness, right? The Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So this quality of space, it has a nourishing element to it, has a nourishing energy to it, just like the sun is nourishing. So it's nourishing Mother Earth, and it's supporting the angelic energies of the group are very light. They seem almost cool. There's a coolness in them, very light, very cool. Think of the light quality of the morning sun as it rises. And so that energy is combining with the energy of the space around us, which is a warmer space, which would explain why more warmth on Earth. We have a tendency to blame ourselves for everything, right? Oh, human, mistakes. Greenhouse effect is what's causing it warmer. Yes, I'm sure that is also, and that is the physical manifestation, but also the tendency to move in that direction is coming from a deeper level. And that is the level from where we will ultimately do the healing, because it's at that level where what we want is the beauty and richness and nourishing quality of this period of this segment of space that we're in, to also support and allow the Earth to maintain ideal temperature, to support ideal balance of carbon and oxygen, to support the Earth's natural cleansing systems, to help detoxify the Earth. Orderliness is less heat producing. Entropy is kind of like aggravating and heat producing, but orderliness is cooling. So what we're going to do, what we're doing here at the group is doing, I'm just asking, and this is me, because I'm not really, even though I'm reporting and it might sound like I'm telling, I'm not really telling, I'm really reporting. So what I'm doing right now is I'm asking, since we've come across the principle of orderliness, I'm asking into the source of creation within myself, is it possible to increase orderliness? Is that appropriate to do at this time? And if so, how? And what I'm receiving is that one of the receiving, first of all, yes, orderliness is good, and increase orderliness. And to do so, what we're going to do is decrease or dissolve discordant feelings in the collective consciousness, of humanity, in the waters. Because after all, the waters are the flow of feeling. They're the flow of emotion. You can check my ocean healings. So in the waters, one of the first emotions that I'm coming across is grief. So it's on such a mass scale. when we're clearing grief from the collective consciousness of humanity, the family of humanity, and we're clearing it from the oceans of the world. This is big. It's a big thing to do, right? I bow down to the brilliance and power and wisdom of everyone watching that it's possible to make that happen. Because it wouldn't have come up if your consciousness hadn't brought it up, if your divine self hadn't brought it up. So right here we go. I'm feeling the energy rising, and it feels like the energy is like kind of rising right up from sort of the foundation of our being. So it feels like it's rising up from that celestial, less manifest level up to the denser levels of creation. And it's starting to come through in ripples like this. That's how I'm feeling the energy moving. And there is happiness in this energy. There is deep wisdom and understanding about the nature of every experience as being evolutionary. So what it's doing is it's helping to support the ability to clearly, like transparently, see and appreciate the evolutionary value in all experiences. And there's gratitude, because when an evolutionary experience or an experience is seen as evolutionary, then of course the next natural response is to be grateful for such an opportunity. So good job, everybody. Lots of gratitude is flowing. And as that gratitude flows, it's sort of, I'm feeling it as if it's flowing up through the collective of creation, the collective of humanity, the collective of the earth. And it's flowing up through us, and our beings are opening up like vessels, like channels of light, that gratitude is flowing out through us back to the creator, back to the source of creation. Good job, everybody. And so that energy is just kind of moving. It's on its flow. The energies, the movement of energies never actually stop. Even as this gratitude is flowing up through our physiologies, cognition, divine cognition is coming in. And it's showing. What I felt now was a really solid step of energy. It went shong like that. It was like a great big giant step. And it was an expression forth of the heart chakra and the auric field of the heart chakra. So that's the next thing that's happening, is that collectively, and now we're moving together, as in an orchestra, research showing that when people make music together, their hearts actually beat in synchrony. I don't think research has been done on brainwave coherence, but I bet you if that was done, we'd find that brainwaves also move in synchrony. So what's happening is the hearts are moving in synchrony. Not just the beat or pulse of the heart, but it's the emotional content, is the feeling. And this is very interesting. This feeling of just deep, tender sweetness. It is like the most luscious energy medicine I've ever seen. It has a soma-like quality to it. It's soft, enhancing of digestion, of proper digestion, and and eradication of neural functioning. It's balancing neural functioning in everyone's brain, central nervous system, to make what's happening is a decrease in neural connections in the amygdala, which are the pain centers, and an increase of neural connections in the nucleus accumbens, which is the area of the brain which is responsible for experiencing happiness, experiencing bliss. And also the prefrontal cortex area. So there's a rewiring of the brain taking place. Very important for us to take this next step. What happened, okay, is that the heart underwent an upgrade. There was that big giant step forward in the heart. So the heart was producing this beautiful, luscious, yummy love medicine. And then that went up and it caused an upgrade for the mind. So what we've got is, I call it the heart-mind axis. It's a little bit like there's a pituitary adrenal axis in the body, so that they, like the pituitary and the adrenal glands, like work together to produce specific effects. So the heart and mind also do the same. Heart-mind axis. And so this is activating in everyone. They are coordinating. Very nice. They're coordinating not just within each person's physiology, but also within the group as a whole. So we're stronger as a group, right? We have the value or the perspective of everyone collectively joining in to enjoy this. Joining to enjoy this activation of heart and mind. Okay, and I'm also seeing, this is very interesting, because the principle here is to promote sustainability for the earth and long life for our beautiful earth and long life for the family of humanity and the families of all the other beautiful, sweet, amazing species on earth. I'm seeing added into this a kind of there's like a purification that's taking place in the earth chakras. So I know most people are familiar with the concept that their chakras, their energy centers within the context of the frame of the physiology, the torso head area. But beneath chakra 1 are chakras -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, like that. And in those chakras, a modification or adjustment is taking place, particularly within the gap between chakra 1 and chakra -1. So the base, like right down at the root chakra. And the other thing that's happening there is empathy. Empathy and compassion are activating. It's more than empathy and compassion. It's that there's a level of perception. There are, each of the different areas of the body, each of the different organs of the body, each of the different chakras has the capacity to act like an antenna. Our whole body is a giant antenna of divine cognition, of divine intelligence, of divine being. And we're constantly being downloaded with cosmic information. And we all choose to filter that information differently, right? So that gives us each our unique perspective. But within the context of this larger picture, there's also the fact that each part of the physiology or the system is able to receive or to interpret or extrapolate the meaning of these divine downloads in different ways. And the root chakra has its own first chakra, second chakra, third chakra. They have their own means by which they interpret the value of this flow of divine cognition, which is constantly flowing through the physiology. And there's a really, really long, old historical pattern in our physiologies of kind of denying or not trusting or feeling that there's something wrong with the way in which these deeper levels function. When the energies build up a lot, sometimes it creates effects in technology. Just saying. So think of this area of the physiology as a very kind of, the way it interprets divine cognition is very simple. And this is a blessing because a lot of the cosmic information that flows through our beings is very abstract and very complex, and it can be difficult to find English words to describe. But there's a simplicity with which we interpret divine life force from the deeper levels of the physiology, from the lower levels of the physiology. So working through the earth chakras and then up through chakras 1, 2, and up to the gap between 2 and 3. So just the first 2 chakras plus the earth chakras. Communication opening. That means channels or beams, flow of consciousness, like in streams or threads, which connect through all of the different parts of our being to the rest of creation. The first thing that's happening is a strengthening of the astral body. And so as our physiologies energetically connect to or interface with the rest of our environment, it's done so in a way which is appropriate and comfortable and safe and life-supporting. It's also, there's a kind of a motherly, nourishing energy which is moving through this deeper level of the physiology. This is lower from the hips and the hip joints and the legs and the feet in this area. This nourishing motherly energy is supporting the health of this part of the physiology. It is beautiful. It is supporting the ability to function without judgment in any form, even the most abstract. There some of the patterns that we carry from ancestors and from the distant past have managed to evade our ability to break free of those boundaries, certain boundaries or limitations. We haven't been able to comfortably break free of them because there's sort of like a system of like camouflage built up around them, or a system of defense mechanisms built up around, which have stopped us from being able to get in as a collective and really gently, gracefully liberate ourselves from boundaries or from ways of thinking, belief systems that have been carried for a really, really long time. So you can imagine a belief system builds up, and then, for example, someone experiences trauma of some kind, and the amygdala makes a whole bunch of more new neural connections, which we decreased those just now. And as a result of the trauma, they make a kind of a promise or vow to themselves that they're not going to go get into a big messy situation again. From now on, I'm never going to, for example, a love breaks apart. And it's traumatic and it's painful to lose someone that you love, or somebody that you love dies, and it's terrible and it's traumatic. They say, I'm never going to love again. I'm never going to love anyone again. I'm never going to put myself in that vulnerable situation to love. And they make a vow to themselves. And that affects the heart, and it affects the energy field. And then even from one lifetime to a next, a vow like that can be carried. That vow was carried over the long course of time. Habits and behaviors start to build up around that, which support functioning in that way and consistently over the course of time. And it becomes more and more solid. The more we stay in that habit, the more we act in that way. Oh, I'm never going to love anybody. Never. Then after a while, it becomes a physical thing, and it affects the body. So it's not to say that if there's something really dangerous, like, oh, it's better not to put your hand in the fire. Obviously it's better not to put your hand in the fire. But then there are those people who break that boundary too, and they walk on coals and stuff, right? So, no matter how you look at it, anything of the relative is basically exists because of a breaking of the symmetry of the source of creation. Somehow asymmetry. For instance, my hair is dark here, but the air is not dark over here, right? The skin is lighter, and then the hair is darker, and then the necklace is bubblier, or whatever. That each area has its own unique characteristics because the totality of creation has been isolated down into very specified boundaries. So what we're doing is we're looking at those boundaries. We're looking at what's behind the boundaries, how they manifest in the first place. And we're seeing how these underlying principles are malleable. They're changeable. We can just simply, by putting attention on them, we can start to shift them. So what's happening in the lower part of the physiology here with the changes in the energy frequencies of the earth chakras and the first and second chakras, and that nice, nurturing, beautiful mother energy which simply accepts without judgment. That's the bottom line. When the child does anything, good or bad, mother says, come here. Come sit with me. Let me nurture you. Can I make you some food? Can I take care of you? What can I do? It doesn't matter if the child was good or the child was bad. It doesn't matter, right? Because that's what the mother does. The mother just accepts without judgment. The thing is that these kind of little elements of judgment are an example of a way that some little imbalance can disguise itself. Sometimes judgment disguises itself simply as, oh, well, I'm just concerned about other people. Oh, so-and-so, did you hear what happened to so-and-so? Oh, they, throw out a fact and figure, a name and a date. And what happens is, very quietly, like almost not knowingly, we're a little bit comparing ourselves to other people. At this time, this is one of the areas that I wanted to talk about for our sustainable world today, were some of the interesting happenings with regards to politics. And it's so easy to look at someone who's up in front of the whole world and be judgmental or be critical in some way or another. And what that does is it makes one feel like, oh, well, I don't have that problem or whatever. But we're all cut of the same cloth. We're all cut of the same cloth. And what we really want, whether we're talking about American politics or we're talking about some of the great tragedies and challenges that are facing Europe and facing the Middle East, Africa, Asia, every country, all the countries have their challenges. Russia and Ukraine, right? All the countries have their challenges. We want truth, transparency. We want the truth to be universally accepted. This judgment, these subtle levels of judgment, are clearing not just out of our physiologies, and everybody watching right now has the benefit of their body starting to heal, particularly if people have problems with their joints, any inflammation in the body, any edema. This is releasing. As a result of releasing, I'm sure everybody watching is a very sweet person, and we all know that it's not worth a crumb of our time to bother judging other people. However, sometimes when others have situations of concern, it's all too easy to say, well, that person has that weakness. I can look at them and I can see what their problem is, right? It's all too easy to do that. But when the mother does it, she doesn't even see anything wrong. She just accepts that child totally, utterly, and completely, and just adores and loves. And that's the healing balm. So that healing balm is running through the whole lower part of the physiology. And as it does so, it's also moving into Mother Earth. Oh, another one. It's a little piece of earth. A little piece of earth. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's being received. This gift is being received not only by our physiologies, but by the very fine intelligences that form our physiologies, the very qualities of consciousness that can restructure the physiology are activating. And they're restructuring in the joints of the physiology to reduce swelling, to reduce edema, to rebuild cartilage, to strengthen the bones and the connective tissue in the body. And as that's happening, remember, the level of intelligence that's capable of making those changes in the physiology is the same quality of intelligence that sits in the crust of Mother Earth, that's responsible for things like the flow of water around the earth, purification of waters. That's another big issue, right? We're looking all over the U.S., many cities in the United States anyway, that are suffering from lead in their waters now. It was found first in Flint, Michigan, and now it's being found in Cleveland and other places. Looking at the waters. And again, clearing. What's happening is, in order to get rid of the discordant feelings that are sitting in these various locations, whether it's in our physical body or whether it's in the waters of Mother Earth, one needs to be able to approach it from that mother kind of position, from that position of total acceptance, total adoration, no judgment whatsoever. Just the sweetest, most accepting, most comprehensively understanding and compassionate level. There it goes. It's doing it. It's doing it. The big energy flow is, it's like as a collective, we built up this big energy frequency, and now it's rippling out. It's rippling out through our physiologies, into our environment, into Mother Earth, and it's creating these nice healing waves. All that healing energy that's been building up in our physiologies, that's been healing us during this healing session, is now moving through our physiologies and is healing the Earth as well. And as you know, just like love, if you give it away, it only expands exponentially, right? And as that's happening, it feels appropriate to move back to the field of truth and back to a point where we can not just do this collectively in our collective here, which is beautiful. Thank you all for being with me. But it would be very nice if the collective of humanity could function in a unified way, just as we are like the 100th monkey we're showing, right? We're just together. Our hearts are beating together. The energy that's moving through our physiologies is moving in unison like a orchestra, 45-piece orchestra. And more for those who will watch this in the future. And as more and more people watch this live stream in the future, it becomes more and more powerful. And it happens again every time you watch it, just as a note. Truth, transparency, honesty. What we want is for everyone to be able to treat themselves the way the mother treats the child, by being so accepting, so understanding that one can look at anything. You can look at anything that you might think of as a fault or a weakness or a failing and completely embrace yourself and completely turn it around. Use it as leverage to catapult yourself forward into greater alignment with cosmic evolution and completely higher levels of functioning, to establish the capability to act from highest integrity, highest moral code. There we go. More activation for the heart. Beautiful. So the hearts are continuing to open up and expand. And what I'm feeling right now is a wisdom wave coming in. The divine cognition is coming in directly. It looks like it's coming in directly through the heart. It's affecting the astral field of the heart. And it's also going out and it's affecting something that I call the electronic belt, which is kind of like an equator, an energetic equator around the energy field of the physiology. I'm looking at its relationship to the astral body, which has a kind of a shape to it. Because as we were saying before, the celestial body is like a field. So where is the equator in that, right? But at the astral level, it looks like it's just right about in the middle of the astral body this way. Here's the astral body right here. That electronic belt is a place where the physiology archives or stores cosmic wisdom or knowledge. So that makes sense. Wisdom download coming in, it comes in, opens up and activates the heart. It activates the astral field of the heart, and then it goes in to the astral body, the auric field of the heart, and then it goes in and it speaks directly to the archive. Now I'm going to ask something here. If this electronic belt is being awakened in our physiologies, I know there's another area in the physiology where knowledge is stored, and that's what I call the family treasury, which is the silent central spindle of the DNA, is an aspect of the Akashic record. So how is it affecting that, and is there a relationship? I'm just asking. Every cell has its own electronic belt. Interesting. So what that means is that the knowledge or the wisdom that we hold in our physiologies is contained at many levels. It's contained at the level of the electronic belt. It's contained at a kind of electronic belt level of each cell. And then inside the cell, it's also contained in the core of the DNA, these little strands of silence in the middle of the DNA. Not to be confused with methyl groups which silence the DNA. Let me please define that so that nobody gets confused. Methyl groups are molecular clusters that latch onto the DNA and silence it as a result of stress in early childhood, or stress of a person's parents when the person is in early childhood. These are passed down ancestrally. What I'm talking about is the DNA molecule, being a double helix form, has a kind of a central spindle, which is unmanifest. There's a silent space inside our DNA. And this silent space is an aspect, or it is an extension of the Akashic record, which holds the spiritual story of each ancestor, because our DNA is the archive of the ancestors, right? So it holds significant evolution of each person. It's not the whole story of every ancestor. It is the most important aspect of each story. And because of that, because of being kind of like a condensed Reader's Digest version of people's lifetimes, it contains all so far back, hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years back to early physiologies on the earth, even prior to human physiologies, way back. I'm telling everyone this because this archive of information, as we put our attention collectively on this aspect of our own physiologies, what we're doing is we're activating the part of our own being which is responsible for knowledge and wisdom, basically. And as we put our attention on that, we activate it, we strengthen it, it becomes fortified, it becomes useful. When you know that it's there, then you can use it. If you don't know it's there, you can't use it, yes? So knowing it's there is point number one. Point number two is I'm asking how to present the information of how to use this information. And I'm also asking at the same time, can we use this huge resource within our physiologies to support an awakening of truth, an awakening of transparency, a universal capacity within the family of humanity to embrace highest truth? That's what we want. We want political leaders who are living their lives very, very close to natural law, who are living their lives close to cosmic evolution, who will be able to function in such a way as to help bring forth a heavenly time on earth for everyone. That's what we want. So this is beautiful. Oh, this is rich. Good stuff here. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that over the course of a long time in human history, centuries, thousands, millennium, the Earth has gone through, remember we were talking earlier about different segments of space. The Earth has gone through many different segments of space. And in these various segments, our Earth, like a kind of a cosmic spaceship, our solar system, has encountered beings and being of various different kinds, all different kinds of life force, beings with physical forms, beings with non-physical forms, beings who are very great and huge. Each segment of space has its own overseeing intelligence, its overseeing being. And different beings have different intentions, you know? What a gift. Oh, look, this beautiful little planet with all these nice life forms is moving through my space. How delightful is that? And one being might be like some big, beneficent caretaker who protects us, just like the space that we're in right now. There's this kind of caretaking, protective quality in the space that we're in right now. And then other beings we move through are more like, oh, how can I, mine the resources off of this planet and so forth. So they're all different kinds of life influences that we've come in contact with as we move through. They've all left their mark, so to say. They've all left a little bit of their own intelligence with us. So we're working with that intelligence. And the details of that intelligence sit down at the causal celestial level, causal celestial spirit level. Spirit, because that's where the story of all of our past experiences ties in. So all through that area, and there's this very rich field of information. All the stories and impressions. And some of the impressions include elements that have resulted in individuals on Earth feeling separate from their own ability to experience divine cognition, or separate from their own relationship with the source of creation, and certainly in a lot of cases separate from a feeling of being really truly beloved. And so getting back to this point, because we touched on it earlier for the ancestors, it's really beautiful for everyone to understand that even looking at oneself and thinking, oh, I'm not perfect or I'm not good enough, this is a way, these not perfects and not good enoughs merely make the individual more precious in the eyes of the divine. This is the reality. I could go into a big explanation, but I've gone into big explanations in the past. You can see that information on other YouTube videos. The exact reasons why it makes us more precious. But we're just talking to the ancestors. And we're talking into the physiologies. And all those cells with their little cords connecting them to divine source. And allowing, this is what our collective needs. In order for the collective consciousness to deserve a leader who supports everyone's well-being, everyone has to feel that they deserve well-being, right? If you feel like, oh, I'm pathetic and I don't like myself and I don't like my life and this is miserable and so forth, then that's what you get. And it's often done, again, it's one of those cases where it's camouflage and it's done in the name of humility. Oh, please forgive me, I'm pathetic. I'm being humble. Okay. It's okay. Anybody who cares that much about being humble wouldn't accidentally not be humble anyway. So you're fine. You don't have to worry. Clearing fear. Clearing fear from the throat, neck, and heart area. I almost said chakra. Throat, neck, head, throat, and heart area. Clearing fear of making a mistake. Even mistakes make you more precious. So no fear. It's okay. You can be yourself and you can still be loved. And I'm saying this to all of humanity, and we as a collective are saying it to humanity. We're humming it or resonating it. This is different from the resonations that came up earlier. The resonations that came up earlier were feelings, devotion, gratitude, forgiveness. This is completely different. This is a wisdom resonation. This is a story. We're telling a story to humanity through our beings. And this, going through the exercise of telling this story to humanity, is activating the heart-mind axis in a slightly different way than we activated it before, which is cool because think of your body like a musical instrument and you can play it in different ways, right? So what we're doing is we're creating and promoting this wisdom flow, this wisdom download for humanity. It's bringing in more of the mental part is activating a little more, but it's always, always supported by the heart. It's always supported by this deep devotion, deep dedication, deep commitment to the well-being of humanity, to the well-being of society. And it's coming with the sweetest happiness, the sweetest joy, because it's like telling a bedtime story to a child, you know? The mother just loves the child so much that it's coated with fun facts and nuances that make the story especially charming. It's coated with those little lovely, rich, complex synesthesic flavors that we talked about earlier, that are at the foundation of, remember we talked about them being the inspirations for great music or art or legends, myths, that kind of thing. It's coded, we're harnessing up some of the potential or capability at the causal and spirit level of the physiology to enrich the wisdom flow, which is going out to the family of humanity as this very sort of heartfelt, devoted gift. And what the story is saying to the family of humanity is the truth. The truth is such a joy. The truth is so good, always healthy, always purifying, always helpful. Always, even if it reveals something that someone didn't want revealed, it's better to reveal the truth and to know the truth than it is to be going around in the darkness bumping our heads on things, right? So that's what we want. We want the truth. And what we want is we want everyone to be able to look at others without judgment, right? To just accept without that mother quality, accept without judgment, and to be able to see the truth in people. If collectively humanity can turn its own appreciation, its own self-love back on itself, so that one can self-accept sufficiently, then one can look at others and also accept. And then one can, without judgment, actually see more detail, more truth, more fact, more reality in what's happening with other people. Otherwise, it's too much of a chance to be deluded. When the ego is there trying to feel a little better than the next guy, then those little judgments fall in. And then instead of actually seeing who that person even is, you end up seeing who you think they are based on what you needed to feel good about yourself, right? So I'm not really saying this to just the people watching this video. I'm saying this out to the collective, because you and I all know that many people will watch this video, and as we're doing this on the level of energy, on the level of consciousness together, we're working our consciousness all focusing together, it's actually affecting everyone. It's going out into the family of humanity lovingly and gently, and supporting the revealing of truth. And the ability to look at, for example, presidential candidates and see the truth. Just see the truth, that's all. We just want to see what's really there, what's really true, and how does the truth of each candidate interface with the potential for evolution in, not only, in this case, I'm thinking of American, we've got this American political process taking place right now, but not just within America, but because America as a country is so connected to all the other countries of the earth too. If one country falls, other countries fall too, right? So we want everyone to be rising up together. That's the way we have a stable rise. If one country decides, I'm going to rise up bigger than the others and everyone else is down here, then all the others pull one back down. But if everyone rises together, then everyone enjoys being at that high level. So we want to support everyone's ability to see what's really out there in our fellow men and women and families and children and everybody, even in the plants and the animals, but also for the fate of our country as a collective. We are clearing dramas. We are clearing dramas. We are also clearing trauma from the mental and emotional bodies of our collective family, our family of humanity. And underneath that, individualized identification, a tendency to feel important when something yucky happens. There's a big wave coming out of the heart. All that love, all that acceptance, all that unconditional love and acceptance flowing out. And just saying, if there have been dramas, if there have been traumas, that is fine. I love you, I accept you. And now we shift. Now the energy shifts. And it's not necessary, because life is already fun. Life is already exciting without making it difficult. And when the interpretation, thank you, in implementing that wisdom flow that we had going on, is implementing another wave. See, we're functioning in a very, very beautiful, very complex way now as a group. When we started, we were functioning very simply, and now we're functioning in a more complex way. It's amazing what we're building up our strength, so to say, like a musician who keeps practicing every day and gets better, you know? And in this wisdom flow is this other message, this beautiful, sweet message about how every single experience, every single impulse of perception and of life, every situation, every circumstance is for the sake of evolution, whether it appears to be building up life, building up in the relative, or breaking down in the relative, doesn't matter. It's all for the sake of evolution. It's a big lesson. It's tricky because it's not really intuitive in a way. You know, generally if you see something breaking down on the level of the relative, you think, oh, boo-hoo, that's, you know, my bank account got smaller, or, you know, whatever. That friend I had, they moved away and they're not here anymore, or whatever. But it's not on that level at all. When the relative field has to break down a little bit, it only means an expansion at a deeper level of creation. So the expansion, it's like the expansion and contraction happening like that, right? Let's see if I can do that. Like that. Expansion and contraction. So when it's expanding here, it's expanding here, it's contracting here, and then when it's expanding here, it can be contracting there. So it's like a flow that goes back and forth. And the ultimate byproduct of that flow is total expansion, total alignment. Each time it goes back and forth, it connects up with cosmic evolution, which is supported by an even larger, a huge, great, the source of creation, organizing that everything is expanding. Remember, the source of creation is expanding in every direction simultaneously. Good. Beautiful. All right. So on that note, which is interesting because that note kind of brings us back to where we started at the beginning of this talk, where I was describing how I made that big prayer to the source of creation, and how the source of creation is expanding out in every direction simultaneously. And as that happens, the relative field of creation is contracting like that. So, and then right in the middle, you kind of get that little back and forth thing that happens, and that's how the manifestation occurs. So this has opened up another layer for us to understand how there's a give and take in this field of these subtler and denser levels of our physiology. Back and forth, the energy flows. Sometimes the energy flows out toward the relative, sometimes it's flowing back to the absolute, and you can get flows going in both directions at the same time, so it's looping like that at infinite speed. Okay, so I'm still feeling a huge amount of energy in the space around us in the environment. However, and in our field, we've created a lot of energy through today's healing session, which I love. It makes me very happy. Thank you, everyone, for contributing to that. It's been amazing. It's been amazing to be with you. And so much of today's healings, so many aspects, like every aspect, was a byproduct of our collective intention. So I want to appreciate so much that each person participating today is at a level in their own spiritual story, in their own evolution, that allows us to do this as a collective. It's extremely powerful. All right, so I'm going to say thank you to everyone for being with me today. Thank you so much. It's been really fun. It's been really exciting to be with everyone, but it looks like we've kind of come to our time. So I'm going to sign off. I send my love to everyone. May we continue working. May Mother Earth run cooler and smoother over the days and weeks to come, over this summer of 2016 and into 2017. May she feel cooler and smoother. May the waters of earth be blessed. May the family of humanity be blessed by finding its internal structures for purifying out all the discordant feelings and healing all the wounds of the past, all the traumas or discord from the past washed away. And may each of you who've joined me today be blessed 1,000-fold. May you be blessed again and again and again for joining me for this session, for all the work that you've done to help make this happen, and for being such beautiful, dedicated souls to the well-being of humanity. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you all, and I hope we can do it again. Bye.